welcome everybody to Channeling Lenormand. You know, Mademoiselle Lenormand is a personal favourite of mine. She made such a success out of doing and conducting tarot readings at a time in the 1800s, early 1800s, at a time when it was frowned upon. There was a strong church reaction to individuals doing clairvoyant work. There was a big movement within the Theosophical Society, and there were a lot of fakers around. It was just a volatile time. In France, she did get arrested a couple of times, and because she did readings for really noted individuals, she managed to have some very powerful people on her side that got her out of jail, as it were, which is pretty awesome all by its own self. Now, the main type of reading, I've tried minimising Lenormand, and I've got what I call a simplified Lenormand, which is what I'm doing for all of those that were in the draw. But the main style of reading Lenormand is as you see in front of you. Now, it's a 36-card reading, and it's not one that you take on terribly lightly. Having said that, I love it because there's an element as a reader of puzzling, working something out. You can't just look at it and just go off the cuff like I do with the tarot reading. They're quite in-depth, and the pictures are not really your big help. It's really the relationship between where the person card is, or the key card, where they are in the actual layout, and every other card. So in this particular case, the key card is the lady, because Michelle won our draw. Well done, Michelle. Whee! Because she won our draw, if it was a man, the man card would be our main key card. Woo, woo, woo! would be our key card. But because it's not, she's right over here in the second row on the right-hand side here. And now how the reading progresses is determined in everything in relation to this card, plus in relation to the cards around them. So in general, the further away an influence is, the less influence it is. Now, one could ask the question, how do we read 36 cards if they're the same cards all the time? And that's it. Some cards become irrelevant. And so I'd like to point out how that can be. There's a directional thing. While you don't actually read upside down cards with Lenormand, if you've laid them out yourself, the direction, for example, here's the size. The direction of the size is pointing towards another card, and that's the card that will probably have more to do with it. So we'll make these a little bit bigger so you can see. Now, you might be interested to know that I just created these cards, another set under my belt. I think I'm batting for naught out of naught or something. So this is the third, maybe fourth set of cards I've developed, and pretty much just for the hell of it. But these are good fun. I don't know if I'll bother trying to get them printed up or not, but they do go along with the Lenormand book that I've just written, Channeling Lenormand, for those that are interested. It's a tiny little book, because actually I've looked at a lot of information about how people suppose the Lenormand should be read, but they're kind of making it up a bit. They're developing something that is really self-explanatory. So I like to keep this simple, and the tarot is the same. Arthur Waite said it's about the pictures with the Rider-Waite with the tarot deck. Lenormand is not really. The pictures are directional, but you're not going to read every symbol into it. Still, you may pull something out intuitively, but there are very strong and very clear clues, very precise clues as to what's going on. So what we're going to start with for Michelle is we're going to talk about the size card. Now, it has value. The card itself, the size itself, is pointing to the fox. There's an end to deceit, dishonesty, so you can see that endings aren't always bad, right? To anybody that's perhaps leading you along, stringing you along, that's going to come to a sudden and complete stop. So they'll either turn over and become more honest, or they will perhaps find that they've come to the end of their rope with that, and it becomes the end of that situation. Added to that, the fox sits next to the path card, the directional card. So this will alter the way you go forward. It will alter the way you want to do things. The path card is very interesting because it allows us choices. So I'm seeing that with the honesty aspect of this, or the end to any deceit, brings you to a point where you get choices. It doesn't take away from you. It gives you choices. It allows you the option to decide, what do I want to do next, or where would I like to focus next? So when something comes to an end, it's actually opening a way or a path for you that gives you options rather than closing things down. So that's a really nice little look there. I'll just back off a little bit. Now, because you're way down here on the second row, and this is way up the top and high above you, I'd suggest you're looking at maybe 6 to 8 weeks timing-wise. There's a little bit of time around that, but it's fairly direct. So you won't necessarily, because it's an oblique angle, you won't necessarily see this coming. It'll just happen. Now, there's a partnership forming. We've got the ring directly above you. Now, the ring is not necessarily about romance and love, and it's not next to the man card. But what it definitely is about is it's about forming partnerships. It's about good things happening, consolidating your interests. It's a nice card to have right there, actually. It's a nice card to have sitting above you because that makes it sort of inevitable. The things that are sitting right above you like that are inevitable. And right above that, we've got the ship. Now, the ship coming in. The ship is about ending, by the way, it's trade. It's never about personal matters. It's about ending, the financial affairs, doing a good trade. It's settling things out. The reason it's a ship, in her time it was a ship because the ships indicated goods coming. It indicated the conclusion and safe travel. They got there safely. They came to the end. So it's not a negative card at all. It just means it's a good time for business, good time for trading, and partnerships are involved in that. To the left, we've got the moon flanking the woman card, the key card, which is you. Now, the interesting thing about this moon card is that it really does mean you will need to sort of tune into your intuition, but also it means there are possibilities you may not have considered just yet. And because she's right beside you, there's going to be what feels like a bit of an opening. You know, the world may open in just a little bit. Now, interestingly enough, we've got these partnerships or forming bonds, and we've got the stalks. Now, the stalks are about sudden change of home, sudden change of work, sudden change of address, that kind of thing. But it's usually fairly quick, things moving fairly quickly. Now, it's below the home, so expect changes in the home front that happen quite quickly. Because we've got positive cards up and below you, we're also looking at the fact that these are things that you're creating, things you want, things that are going to go well, even if they may not appear that way right now. Straight down below you, we've got the Cavalier. That's news coming from afar. Not usually from somebody you know, not usually close to you, although it can be about something from afar. Usually it's information coming to you or a message coming to you from somebody who's living overseas or somebody who's away from you. It's right below you, so it's imminent. It'll happen any day now, any time now. It's a really nice card to have, and it's flanked by the lilies. Now, I was actually this is one of the last cards I did, so I'm particularly proud of it. Because I did these Victorian wallpaper cards, these pictures haven't come up so well, but the cards do look better. I've decided I'm going to do a Victorian tarot deck, and that's the next little project that I'm going to take on board. But the lilies are about everything coming up fine. They're a positive symbol around the home. So we've got these two areas here with news coming from afar, business looking like it's going to take a turn for the better. Things are going to open up for you. But we've also got this nice things working nicely around the home front, which is awesome. We've got the anchor moving out a little way and under the fish and next to the letter. Now, these are kind of relevant too. The anchor, again, is consolidating business, setting in, creating responsibility. It's always going to be about business. I'm anchored now. I've created this environment for myself, and I'm going to stick with it for a while. It's also quite a nice little symbol. Now, with the fish is about prosperity. It always has been, it always will be. So there's prosperity around laying down foundations, creating new anchors, creating new areas for yourself, which is really nice. Now, you can expect a letter. Now, this is not like the Cavalier where it comes from far. This letter, it's a message. You can expect a message with relation to, and again, we'll bring that up so we can have a look at it. This is the relationship part of the layout. The cross is inevitability. So when we've got that, we're talking about getting a message about something that's inevitable. That means inside yourself you know how it's going to go, but you just need confirmation, and that's going to come to you soon. The cross is about there's no escaping a result, a consequence, an ending, a change, whatever that is. It's sort of the Lenormand version of the tower in the tarot. There's a tower here, but it's nothing like the tower in the tarot, so it's a little confusing for those that are tarotists. So the cross here is about that you can't escape certain consequences. You can't escape death. You can't escape illness. If you don't look after yourself, you can't escape certain events. They've gone so far down the track that you're kind of locked into them. Because it's a message, I'm saying you do know where things are going with regards to this moment, but you just need that final confirmation so that you're clear about it. Above that we have the heart card, so I do believe this will involve your passions, your emotions, and things that you care strongly about. Now you need to watch to the right there. We've got the bear, and the bear indicates some level of jealousy or some level of some anger. There's quite often a little bit of sudden anger, temper tantrums, that kind of thing. But I'd relax with that. Now straight above that we've got the tower. And the tower is taking care because of where it is in relation to you. It's on an oblique angle. It's not too far away. Make sure you don't isolate yourself. Make sure that you don't separate yourself from society or from those that you need to be around. It's very important for you to take forward that idea. Now it's below the side. So if you've got an imposed sort of isolation for focus, head down, something you need to do, that's fine. But make sure that you bring that to a close in a reasonable and right manner. The home card on the opposite side of the side and below, above the stalks, you've got that sort of ongoing situation around homes and houses. But again, there's change. So the change will be your decision and where you want that to go. I think I did say that, so I'm probably repeating myself now. What we've got here is the snake. Now the snake points down to the heart as well. So the snake is definitely about being misled, deliberately or otherwise. So be careful around people that you do care about, or people that care about you, or watch your love relationships and friendships. There may be a person, definitely a person who has perhaps self-interest, or they're not quite giving you the full story of how things are really playing out around them. They may be manipulating, they may be trying to play on your sympathies more than a little bit, whichever way it is. Now we've got the clouds. Now the clouds facing the heart and the snake above, to me, is a very telling symbol. And we've got the birds. Now the birds tend to talk about arguments and discord. So I'd look out for that a little bit. It's probably relating to a man as well. There's a few conversational moments in there that if I was taking a lot of time, I would look at a lot more closely. But because we've got that there, I would say look out for finding out that maybe somebody hasn't been that honest with you, but it isn't business because the hearts are involved. It's a little bit away from you, so I don't see it as deeply impacting you. It doesn't mean it's time-wise away from you, but it just means that it's, again, we've got that inevitable feeling because we're above that cross. It's sort of like, I know this, I've known this all along, I've known this for a while. Now it's time to admit it, it's time to put it in its place. And that information may come to you via a man or because of a man or about a man. We've got the mice, which are irritations. They're kind of negated because right next to the mice, which is loss and losing, we've got the four-leaf clover. Now, while you've got those two beside each other, this is what I was talking about, they cancel each other out. In other words, it's not so much good fortune, but you work for what you get. And losses that you may or not plan but expect a little bit are just not going to happen. So they negate and count. And because the mice is also got flanked by the light side of the clouds, which is the silver lining, and the four-leaf clover on the other side, basically you can just ignore that. And so that's how that works, that not every card, although it's laid out, is going to have a major impact. Now we've got the dog just sitting really above the bouquet. And that's a loyal friend or a potential partner, something coming forward for you, somebody that can be trusted, and bringing you a gift. And that's what the bouquet is, all good things. So if you meet somebody new, whether it's a friendship, a business, personal or business, I should say, that you can trust this person. They're coming in, they're fairly well away from you, so they're sort of in your peripheral, if you like. They're sort of out there, but you may not have met them just yet, but they come bearing gifts, and the gifts aren't necessarily wrapped in a package. It's not necessarily a piece of chocolate cake, but it's usually a gift, whether the gift is friendship, whether the offering that they give you enhances your life in some way. It's always seen of as a gift. We've got the fountain in the park. Now, the park's an interesting thing because it's right next to the coffin. The coffin does indicate that you might need to watch your health a little bit, but it's splayed off to the end. I don't think it's an ongoing, or I shouldn't have said that word, should I? It's not necessarily an ongoing situation for you, but, it's on the fringes, it's on the edges there. Keep an eye on your health, and if you feel like you're sickening, if you feel like you might be coming down with something, take a little extra time right at the start to get on top of it, and it won't affect you so much. Now, I've got travel around you here. We've got the child and we've got the sun card flanking each other, and we've got the tree straight above that. Now, the tree does indicate a certain amount of growth, and it can indicate also a bit of work, a bit of effort going into things. But when we're also with the child, we've got spontaneity, we've got instant responses, I suppose, getting on with things. But it's with a nice, jolly view. It's that joyous, childlike outlook of life where things look optimistic and they look happy. There's another side to that child card as well, and it's foundational here. It's at that bottom, where others see you as kind, they see you as knowledgeable, they see you as respect or with respect. People are looking at you, or those people you're interacting with at that time are seeing the hard work you're putting in, and you're going to gain something from that. The sun is shining on this, and there's also the books. The books do suggest that there's more you need to know. Just read the fine print. Make sure you've got all the information at hand. But even then, those four together, that sun says, that things will work out well. Things will work out absolutely well. The only thing that can ever change in that is because of the tree, and the tree is hard work and it's growth and it's change, is that, if you don't read things properly, if you don't check things out properly, if you don't follow through in the right way, things could take longer or be harder work to get where you want to go. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at with those, which is pretty cool, really. We've got the mountain right up at the end, and of course the mountain is next to the key. The key suggests that you could just turn a lock, if you like. There's just that you've got the key, you've got the understanding, it's right there for you. And what you may see as an obstacle, what you may see as the mountain, actually isn't. There's a sunshine behind that, and you maybe just need the right words, the right thing, that one last thing to turn the lock for you. It's way off in the distance there, which means you may have to reach around yourself to find it, but it's not time distance. Please note that. So the influence from the mountain is negated. The fact that it's by the key means that this mountain is being broken down to size. You've heard that saying, if Muhammad won't come to the mountain, it's that kind of energy. The key sitting right there. Now we've got right in the middle here, up here, we've got the birch rod. The birch rod indicates a bit of guilt feeling. Now, while that might show up, because it's stuck right up there and it's between choosing your path, I see it as a peripheral energy. It's a sort of guilt anybody can have in any one day or any one week or any one month. But I do see it playing around the fringes there, whether it's because of making a choice and knowing that somebody else has missed out or has got to pay the price or whatever, that you're going ahead may cost somebody else in some way that you care about, or they may need to step aside to allow you the room and the space. All of those things that come together are rather important. So that's that reading. The truth of that is that I've done that as pretty quick fire, and so I haven't gone in depth as I should have, because you can always read and also read the combinations of the playing cards in there as sort of like two decks in one. And I won't do that today because I will run out of time. But I hope you enjoyed that, Michelle, and congratulations. And if you like, I can send this picture on to you and you can peruse it at your leisure. Now, we've got the other ladies' readings here. We have got Julie. Julie G, she got in touch and was in the drawer, and this is what I call my simplified, thank you very much for that. This is what I call the simplified Lenormand. I've worked really hard to try and find a way to make that work, because the cards don't really work without the person card or the key card. It makes it really difficult. So what I've done is I've made an assumption that the key card is in the middle. That is the woman card in this case, because my program that I draw them with I can't select. I could freeform the cards, but I don't want to do that. I wanted them to be shuffled properly. So the woman card is in the middle. Now what we've got off to the left here is what I'm going to say is the energy that's just being put out there. Off to the right there, things that are coming your way, things that are going to happen for you, Julie. At the base, the foundational energy that will create something for you. And at the top is what's immediately above your head that will help you move along. So off to the left, the immediate energy that's been following you will come up behind you. We've had that spontaneous energy, that idea that there's something nice coming for you, something that's further away. And looking at the big picture, that's what the stars is all about, and the planets. That's looking at the big picture and keeping an eye on. Actually, I've got to show you this card because I really like this little girl. Obviously, I've taken a whole pile of pictures and thrown them together, and the quality of these isn't great to look at on this. But I really enjoy that card, just got to say. And these are the stars, is looking at the bigger picture. And that's got you where you are today, Julie. And I think that's a really good thing. The base foundation of this is you've taken some learning, you've taken things on board, and perhaps also at some point in the recent past you'll have received a message or information from someone that's allowing you to think differently about them, about your life, about where you are going. Immediately, it may give you an opportunity to go and learn to get into some scholastic some pursuit. You may have sort of been forming some idea of what you might like to learn, and that's at the base of driving you forward to what you do next, really. We've got the tower and the ship side by side as energy coming in. So you may find yourself separating from those that are around you right at the moment. You may move. You may find yourself completing a deal, buying a house, that kind of thing. It's a trade, is the ship. And you may find yourself doing that in such a way that it puts you outside of your current sphere of friends and the group of people that you know and love right now. Above your head, it's really optimistic. We've got the sun and we've got the lilies, and it shows everything really that you do right now and the choices you make are going to take you to a place that you really enjoy, especially around your home and around your personal environment, if you like, your home, your friends, that kind of thing. There's nothing negative ever in the lilies. And there's the jack... that is potentially a man having some influence in your life. It could be a friendship and it could be a lover, but I'm seeing that as coming into your home life and creating a change for you that feels good and positive and nicely out there. So good luck with that, Julie. And then we've got Kim. Julie's at work, that's why she's not here today at this time. Only I'm around at this time of the day. There's the key card in the middle. We're assuming that. This is Kim's reading. Now, Kim, for you, we've got at the base energy that we've got for you, we've got a bit of a change, and we've got some brightness around that. It might have felt difficult. This is behind you. This has already happened, or it's the foundational energy. It's happening right now. This change of home or movement around your home, people moving in, moving out, things being a little bit different, is on the bright side of the cloud. So quite often that means we might be sure where things are going, but it's going to be okay. We've got an okay thing. If that was the other way around with the dark cloud at it, maybe it would have been more challenging. So sometimes with clouds, it's a matter of they can bring a storm with them, but other times they just obscure something that's going to happen, something that we might enjoy. Your immediate past, things that are influencing, we've got an inevitable ending to good luck. So you may have been having some good fortune, things might have been cruising along, it might have come screeching to a halt for you, and you may have felt that that's a little bit difficult. You may sort of take on the attitude as like, that's my luck, it's just my luck, things are filing along, and then suddenly the car breaks down or something goes there. But again, I want to point out that the cross suggests inevitability. If you haven't been looking after your health, it's inevitable at some point you're going to have to pay the piper. Isn't that right, Michelle? At some point you're going to have to pay the piper. If you haven't been doing or looking after your car, at some point things are going to go wrong. If you've let things slide, and that's what the cross really hits you up with, that there's a point of knowing and then still not doing what we need to do. Now, it's negated by the fish, which is, good fortune actually. But the two kind of cancel each other out. And so I'm seeing that the cross pretty much brings the other one to a halt. But we've got this, keep your eye on the bigger picture going forward. There's the stars out there. And expect a message. Expect something to come and let you know. Now, the message, unlike the Cavalier, can come from a close friend, a family. It's more localized, but it's information. And all information gives you the ability to see something different or a new opportunity. So as you go forward, you'll be keeping your eye on the bigger picture, and you'll be open to the information that comes to you and how it can help you out. Now, straight above you, we've got the partnership and the side. The side is facing away, so we'll expect sudden change, but because it's muted, as in it's pointing to nothing, I would say that the partnership aspect could get a bit rocky, but won't necessarily come to an end. That I don't know if that's personal or otherwise, but I'm getting the sense of perhaps it is a bit personal. And the thing there is that as you have your ups and downs and your swings and your twos and fro's with that, it never quite comes to the end. It doesn't quite get there. So if there's a few fractious moments within a relationship that you're having with somebody, it might be worth just delving in a little bit deeper and finding out what's causing the recycle or what's making it go the way it's going, and see if you can't resolve that. And now we've got Tasha, another New Zealand girl, working today. Poor Kiwis, they all have to work while you guys have finished. You've done all your stuff and we'll be playing while you sleep. See how that works? We play while you sleep and you work while we sleep. Is that right? Something like that. I'll confuse myself, so I'll just keep it off. So this is for Tash. Tash is in Gisborne. You know, Gisborne is the most eastern point of New Zealand, and it is also the first piece of land in the world to see the sun. And I was born in Gisborne at just before dawn, would you believe? So there you go. So it's quite an interesting energy there. Really, really nice. So in actual fact, it means their day starts before anybody else's. So although New Zealand is all in one single time frame, when you look through in the morning news, they show you around the country, and down south is always in the darkness, and up north, in Gisborne in particular, is in light much earlier. So interesting. So what we've got here for the energy just passing out is we've got perhaps Tasha being interested in a man. We've got a man card in there, right next to what would be your key card. So there's an interest there. There's respect. There's kindness. There's an idea that this person is perhaps going to bring some fun into your life, give you something that you may not have had. And this is just sort of fairly recent influence by the feel of it, or it's an influence that's just building, but is in the past. That means you may have met this person and it hasn't quite yet sort of flicked itself into the mainstream. But it's there. The foundational energy at the bottom, you've done a lot of work. You know, we've got the tree there that says there's been a lot of work put out there, that, you know, the clouds are light and bright and they're pushing way up. And I'll put them there like that on purpose because nobody's life is 100% perfect and happy and da-da-da. We have our moments, right? And so this suggests too that, you know, while they're high, they don't bring any threats to us, but yeah, we've got to get on with stuff. To grow a tree requires nurture, requires work, requires growth. We need to reach into the earth, we need to reach to the sky. So that's a little bit of a work card, but it's not necessarily negative. Now we've got the key next to that for you, Tash. So it seems to me like you're just opening areas of yourself, perhaps opening an understanding of who you are, opening up to new experiences and allowing yourself to enjoy them for what they are without necessarily piling baggage onto them. So I do like that. Heading forward, a little bit of an issue. We've got the mice, which is losses and problems. We've got the birds, which are arguments. Now, if this is this man that came in from the past and that's where you're heading, you might want to think if you can do that differently. It may not be that though, so I do expect a bit of discord. Because we've got the birds with the mice, it's a major irritation and it could end up in loss. Now, that can be any relationship you're having, by the way. So if you've got an idea of where something's going, or if there's a person you're already having a few bothers with, you might want to look at that and determine whether you want to bring things to an end or engage a loss of something around you or yourself for that. We go to the top and we've still got a little difficult energy. We've got the bear. The bear does often represent an older man or jealousy. So jealousy or envy is quite important energy. We've got good fortune as well. So I don't see those two things being the same thing. So I think on the one hand, part of your life is going to be really awesome and you're going to enjoy your good fortunes. You're going to enjoy either pay rise, getting something back from investments or energy you've put out there. But at the same time, there's a bit of jealousy in there that could cause some issues. Now, if this is your jealousy, you might want to button off and you might want to slow it down and find out what your insecurity is so that you can deal with it. If it's somebody else's jealousy, then you need to ask yourself whether you're being naughty or whether they've got a foundation for their jealousy or whether they are in actual fact overstepping the mark and need to determine what their insecurities are and see where you go from that. It's quite an interesting energy, and you've got this, you know, really nice part of this reading with this slightly difficult part of this reading. So think about those areas quite carefully, and I think that you can navigate your way through them really, really well. Now, Iris, would you like me to draw a few cards? I won't be able to show them on the screen. Oh, maybe. And Boo Boo, if you would like a reading, let me know. We definitely have time. I've moved through this pretty quick. Now, Channeling Lenormand is really, the idea is to offer you, the Lenormand cards are cheap and easy to buy. They're quite nice. You can get any set. They're pretty much formatted similarly, although a lot of them don't have the playing deck. So when you do get Lenormand cards, if you want to have a play around with them, they work really well with a set of standard playing cards. And so I put the playing card meanings in the Channeling Lenormand book as well. And that way, if the playing card really stands out for you, which I haven't really done today as part of the reading, but if it really stands out for you, then you can move into that second layer of the reading. Normally, if I did a 36-card Lenormand reading, which I do not that often, probably about once a month, somebody goes, yeah, I'll have one of those because it's an hour, it's $80. But about once a month, somebody's like, give me that. And I will sit there and I will go through it all and put it all together. Then I will pull all of those nuances out and see what the relevances are. It's a little bit special. It's quite an in-depth look, rather than this is your next 12 months or your next 3 months. They work so much better when you can lay out the whole set of cards. Boo Boo or Iris, just let me know in the chat if you would like to have a reading with the deck, with the Lenormand deck, as I have it right now. And we have time right now. The interesting thing about the cards, I suppose, is that whole general relationship idea from one card to the next and how they play off each other. And that's what you lose when you try to simplify it. Excellent. Is that what I asked? Yes, it is. So I can lay that out. Now, actually, I might be able to upload the picture for you. I will see if I can do that quickly, and then we can all look at it because, why not? And actually, I think I definitely can do that. It's just bear with me for a minute, and up they will come. Save. I'm saving it. It's going there, and we'll call it Iris, and then we can put that into the desktop, and then I'll be able to find it and upload it. And look at how this works, you see. Fantastic. Up she comes. Select the file. So you hear me talking so you don't get too bored. Here we go. And up she is. Oh, that actually works really nicely. I've got this lovely program that I put cards into, and then I can design spreads and layouts, and it's actually pretty awesome to be able to do that. And I do that for my Skype readings so that a person can look at, or the email ones, they can look at their layout, which I think is quite nice, and it saves me the hassle of writing, you drew 2 of this and da-da-da-da-da. So it's quite pleasant, quite nice. So what we've got is the assumption again that the key card, in case you're wondering, by the way, this little yellow mark and this grey around the edge isn't really the card. It's if I choose to get them printed up, they're already rocking. The edges would be the white edge that you see inside the grey edge. And the yellow is the marker for the printer. So there you go. It's a very clever program, and I really like it. And it allows me to not have to have cards on my lap. I was struggling with that doing shows, especially when I'm on video, which I'm not today because I'm using my phone and I didn't want to stress it all out. But I would have cards on my lap and I'd be trying to draw cards, and it was quite messy. And then you couldn't show people them either. It's like you hold them up to the webcam, and it's just all a bit tarty, really. You know me, I like things to be visually attractive. I really do. And if you can look at the cards, then it's nice. And it gives you something. If you want the pictures, I can send them to you, that you can peruse them. You can go and look up the Lenormand Readings, or if you've got the little book, the little Channeling Lenormand book, you can have a look and you can make your own inferences with the playing cards as well. So here we've got the energy of the past. We've got that moon, that unknown quality. There's a little bit of darkness in there. The moon is really interesting insofar as it's beyond what you think of the moon in the tarot, and that's what I really like to keep pulling out and making clear, that the tarot cards that are similar really aren't. That they're just really not. They've got a totally different basis, if you like, because initially they're looking at their cards based on, what would I call that? Based on an intuitive pictorial, I suppose, the symbology of that. Then it becomes a symbol of the moon. The symbol of the moon is the bit, I suppose. The symbol of the moon is, you know, the intuition. It's the witchy thing. It's the thing that we don't necessarily understand too well. And yet in the Lenormand deck, it's probably really interesting to note those differences are pretty much noticeable. They're not really small differences. They are big, major differences. And you can bring the understanding with that. For example, the sun will always be positivity, it's nurturing and so on, but it can be negated, whereas in the tarot it's pretty much going to shine its light on everything. Again, if it's distant from you, you have this different thing going on that you can't really work out when you're doing simplified programs like this, simplified readings like this. So with that moon, you can trust your intuition, but also because it's stepped one away, it's not right next to you, it does suggest there might be some delays. You know, there might be things taking a little bit longer than you would like. This is from the past, coming forward influence, but you've got the bigger picture in line, so you would have been motivating that whole idea of this is just one thing, this is the whole, this is just one thing, this is the whole. You'd have been giving yourself that. We've got the bouquet as a foundational energy along with the birch rod, which of course is that, you know, giving myself a bit of a whipping. Those two things are completely at odds, so you may find yourself sort of being a bit bipolar. 1 minute thinking like life's a gift, and the next minute thinking you're being punished for something, that kind of energy, but you're not really. We've also got that Queen of Spades in there, and the Queen, she can be quite dark, so you might need to have watched where you go, but because we've got the bouquet as a positive, that Queen energy is just a little bit tippy. You know, it can be this way or it can be that way. So the foundation might not be quite as solid at this moment as you would like. You might find yourself swinging backwards and forwards. Going forward, we've got the deceit. We've got the snake. Now, the snake is interesting because it's always a person, right? It's always somebody. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've got this big, dire, malicious intent. Very often it's simply a person who's just really working towards their own goals, something that they want. You can notice in this picture I've got a lot of arid land behind it, because it's usually not coming from a place of caring or nurturing when a person isn't necessarily going to be honest with you. Because we've got it right next to your care card, that means it's immediate, it's around you now, and you might be getting information that's just on the need-to-know basis, or you may need to watch yourself if you are putting something out there that's not as accurate as it could be. People deceive for different reasons, and I've heard a lot of advice on this. You know, if somebody lies to you, kick them to the curb. I hear a lot of spiritual people saying, I hate liars. If anybody lies to me, they're gone. And I'm like, really? Because, you know, everybody lies, right? Everybody lies sometimes. And the best thing you can do if somebody is being dishonest is, rather than just get mad at them, unless it's one of those, you know, situations that's deliberately malicious, of course, is to ask yourself, when did I last lie to somebody for expedience? When did I just last pop out there a convenient little white lie? And because it's a white lie, I think it's okay. When did I last lie to somebody because I didn't want to get into trouble? That kind of stuff. When did I just sweep somebody off and not tell them the full story? Once we start asking ourselves that, things do tend to get pretty interesting. We've got the light side of the cloud right next to that too, and that's coming into your future. So while you may not see how things are going to go going forward, the chances are pretty good they're going to go just fine. Right above you, we've got loss, again negated by the clover. Well, they're not quite, because it's not a full reading. So what we've got there is, you know, you might lose an inch, but you might gain a foot. Those two are like that. Now, the lucky clover is just like, it's not like the fish, it's not good fortune, it's luck. Having a bit of luck. You might win $10 and then spend $10, for example, on something you didn't really want or need. You might gain something and then you might waste it. that's the mice are a bit like that. They're irritating. They're like thieves in the night, aren't they? They come in. They don't take a lot from you. So the loss and the size of loss depends pretty much on what you've put out there or what you've got to lose. So you might find yourself losing your keys, for example. It can be that small. And then you feel quite lucky because you find your keys or you find something else. It's a real interesting little dynamic. It's straight above your head, so I can expect it any time. And from what I'm looking at here, I would expect you to be sort of running around in circles a little bit at the moment. It is. I'd expect you to be thinking you've got everything organised and then realising you've forgotten just that one important thing and you have to sort of go running around after that, or you find yourself sort of flowing into the idea that somebody's going to throw a spanner in the works every 5 minutes or every other day when you think you've got everything sort of levelled and sorted. Not necessarily horrible energy, but it can be a little bit frustrating. And like I said, with the mice, it can be irritating. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope everybody did enjoy the show today. Now, we've been running a little bit behind, so you're welcome. And Boo Boo, I've got time if you want me to do a layout for you. Now, do have a look at cards for yourselves. Now, I'm going to draw a sacred soul oracle just for the whole group today. And I'm going to do sacred soul oracle readings about the same time next week. I will be running another reading show, and I'll put it out there. I'm just going to do a single card. A beautiful program. And we have got, I like it. We have got the ship card. So I'm going to go get it and show it to you. Show you the ship. Sacred Soul. Nope, better go this one. I had to move everything off my C drive because it was taking up too much room. I have to find it now. I had to put it on my E drive. Hang on. Cards. Here we go. Got them. Wrong card. It's the Witch's card. Actually, I have to decide what to do with those. At some point, anyway, I pretty much have to decide what to do with those. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm going to have to just go and look at pictures. Sorry, guys. I have to go to that picture. Fix. Does my heading. Because I just moved them so they don't come up where they should. There we go. I don't believe I called them what I did, but anyway. I'm going to show it to you without the horrible writing on it. And the ship card is over here somewhere. If you can find it, there it is. And we will select and show you that. Now this is for the, oops, did that go or did it not? I think I clicked it twice. There we go. Oh no, I clicked select file again. Sorry about that, guys. Now this is for the room, this is for anybody listening, and if you come in and have a listen to the recording, this is also for you. This is an earth card. Now, this is a really pretty card. Now, anybody that's in the chat, if you can tell me what stands out for you in this picture, then I can tell you what it means for you right there, right now. And we'll see how we go with that. There's oops, where am I? Oh, I know where I am. The pink sail and treasure chest and the pink sail, and that's pretty awesome too. Treasure chest and pink sail. I'll wait till everybody sort of says what they are interested in before I jump on in there and give you those meanings. So that if it's the same thing, then no problem, right? And we'll see how we go with that. Now, this is about a ship coming in. So just about anybody here at this stage looking at this, thank you, Michelle, can expect things they put effort into to start paying rewards, starting to give you a return. It's an earth card, and that makes it flat out real manifesting. All of the earth cards are about what is actually happening, what's going on. It's quite a powerful thing to look at and enjoy. And what did I do there? I did something. Hang on a second. Let's do that again. There we go. And we can see how we go. The ship coming in isn't like the Lenormand, which is trade and ending trade, but it can be for that same reason, that it's when the ship comes in, we're all happy, the lover's coming home after a period of time away. There's always been a period of time between an event or an action or a project, putting it out there, and receiving one's reward, if you like. And that's the key here, is that there's this time frame between what it was going on and what is going on, or what's coming to you now. So I quite like that about it. It suggests that you've probably been waiting for a while, and now it's happening for you. So we've got the treasure chest for Michelle. First, we'll go there. And that's investments. You're going to love me for this, my love. You're going to go, whoa. The treasure chests, our investments are looking good. There may be an opportunity to save or get ahead right now. It's not really a symbol of spending, the treasure chest, because it's closed and it's being held. So that's husbanding money. Things are coming to the fore, if you like, that are working for you. So it's freeing up of money, or money that is sitting there. It may not have been doing something, but it's being converted to cash. It's becoming treasure for you. So something that you may have been holding on to, by letting it go, you may find that you get the money from that. So it's things coming in and paying. It's a symbol of accumulating. That's what the treasure chest is. We put everything in a chest, don't we? It's like the bank, if you like, only it's personal. So it could come from anywhere. This can be, things that you've already invested in that are going to pay off at some point in the future, or something that you're wanting to invest in that's going to pay off as you go forward. It can be money, finances, emotional reward, satisfaction, but either way, anything you've invested in, no matter what it is looking pretty damn good. So that's quite cool. We've got the sales, is that right? Sales. Oh, that's not gone very well. Sales, where are they? Because I can't remember the pink sales. Because pink is about money as well, by the way. Pink is a colour when it's really bright. But the sales in general, it's driving momentum and things moving along. Without the wind filling the sails, the ship can't go anywhere, right? And so that's a powerful thing to be drawn to that. And pink is usually, when I see pink in the aura, especially around the head, not necessarily in other parts, but especially around the head and above the head, financial interest, money, are bright spots. That doesn't mean they're good or they're bad, it just means they're a focus, quite a decent focus. When you're interested in the beach, it suggests that you're ready for a bit more relaxing time when it comes to the efforts that you put out there. That's for you, it is. What else did you say there? The colourful sails on the beach. So the sails are that for you too. It's gaining momentum, things starting to move along and continuing to move along. Because they're sails, you lose a bit of control. You find yourself sort of sailing along, if you like, on the winds of change or whatever's coming forward for you, being moved along, being blown along. So it's kind of cool. And the beach itself allows you to be in this space. This is a really nice space, but it's shifting. It's sand, beaches move and shift, but you'll be quite comfortable with that for the next wee while. It is. So that's quite nice for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed that lovely card. I really enjoyed making it, that's for sure. Now, I don't know if I've told you this, but this little church here, I put it there. It's actually a church in Auckland that's got a lot of history around it. It's really tiny and it sits up on this hill and looks over Auckland and it'll never be moved. It's sort of on a reserve now. It's ancient and tiny and beautiful. And it's one of those things that you recognise as you sail into the harbour. Every time you look up and there's that church and you know that you've got another 20 minutes and you'll be right inside wherever it is you're going. So it's a pretty nice thing that you don't usually notice unless you're out on the water, which I've spent a lot of time doing. So that's fantastic. So I want to thank you all very much for better try to have a look at the church next week. You need to hop in the Waitemata Harbour for that. Once you hit Auckland, you can find yourself, actually, yeah, because I'm in Cable Bay right now, so I'm moving around a bit. Once you're, and I'm here till, because I just come down now, I've been here an hour, I've got some business here, and I'm here till Tuesday next week at us. Cable Bay is in a beautiful, beautiful area. When you hit Auckland, if you get on the ferry and go out into the harbour, you can look back, and very often you'll see, if you get the ferry to Devonport, and then you look back and you'll see that church up on the hill. It's fairly well out of the city, but it's still in the city, if that makes sense, because, you know, anybody who lives in a city knows what I mean by that. It's not down the CBD, exactly. So thank you very much for coming along. And for those listening in the archives, if you want to get your pictures, let me know. If you would like to have a reading or anything else, just join up. Come and check my energy therapies at intuitalks.com, or hit dorothy-holder.com and check out my services, or get in touch, and we will see you next week. Sacred Souls Oracle. If you'd like readings, everybody that comes into the show will get a card drawn for them, and then I will ask you to look out those sort of things, the one thing that stands out for you in the card. Actually, I might do 3 card draws. At this time, same back channel next week, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody, and ciao for now.